Cernovich. Cernovich.com. I'm not going to be able to read your comments, obviously, because I'm paying attention. But a lot of people don't know this, and a lot of really dishonest people are trying to misinterpret my message on Anthony Bourdain that I gave earlier today. And it really goes to show how toxic and negative people are, that people don't even ask about anything. My grandmother on my mother's side died in an institution. She was institutionalized for schizophrenia, and she had to hide mirrors. She thought people could see her through mirrors, so she would put a towel up over every mirror in her house. This is my grandma. My mother was institutionalized multiple times for very severe, intractable bipolar condition. So that's my actual real family history of dealing with depression and mental illness. And I too, when I was younger, was a very depressed person. I never took SSRIs or anything because I don't believe in any of that stuff. But I know for a fact I would watch my mom try to tweak her medications, right? And then it was like, at one point it's like $1,500 a month. And there was nothing, really that could be done there. She would go very, very wild swings. She'd be, severely depressed, could barely get out of bed. So I have actual family history, personal experience with this stuff. But what I notice among people on Twitter today with Anthony Bourdain is they're all either doing one of two things. One is they're doing selfie videos of themselves about how they loved him for retweets. They're posting the suicide hotline, which is bullshit, doesn't help anybody. Or they're yelling at each other for not being consistently or adequately sensitive to the issues, but nobody's actually having a conversation, right? Nobody's having a conversation. You're right. Nobody's having a conversation, which is, depression cripples people. Bipolar cripples people. People on Twitter make fun of people for mental illness, though. I mean, think about people call me crazy. The people in the media, they call me crazy and they laugh about it. Left-wing, verified Twitter people say, ha, 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 Cernovich is obviously, a mental case. That's what they do. These are very toxic people. So when I talk about depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, I talk about it from visiting my mother in a mental institution when I was 13 years old. You know how she ended up there? No, nobody knows this hardly. You know how I might delete the scope, so if you watch this, you don't have permission to re-upload it. But I grew up in a very religious, Pentecostal Christian house. And under the religious belief, they believed that mental illness was caused by demonic possession. So I was a little kid, I don't know, 12, 13, junior high, I think. Yeah, junior high, maybe 7th grade. And my mom believed demons had been cast out from her. And because of that, she quit taking her medication for bipolar. And then after she quit taking her medication from bipolar, once, she had kidnapped my brother. And then she ended up in a mental institution. So I had to drive into a mental institution to see my mother, who was mentally ill. I mean, you want to talk about, story, people who have actually, dealt with these issues, right? So that's my family history. That's real talk. So I don't hear anybody having these real conversations. I hear people hating on me all day. You're this, you're garbage, you're evil, and everything. Well, okay, why don't you share your personal story, your personal message? Why don't you share about the time, you thought about suicide? Why don't you be vulnerable and reveal who you are? And they don't, and not only that, but if this periscope will be used against me. People will say, see, we told you this guy was crazy. This proves it. This is Twitter. This is the left. This is modern liberalism. This is journalism. There's no room for vulnerability, no room for forgiveness, no room for redemption. A lot of people are, theorizing that Bourdain, because of a social media post, Bourdain may have had a personal mishap with the relationship. And because of that, there was an Instagram post I'm not going to go into all that right now, but there may be more to it than what we're seeing. We live in a society without redemption, so people kill themselves. They go, why is suicide up? Well, I will tell you why suicide is up. Because of your shitty little left-wing, hate-filled, outrage mobs. That's why you are killing people. Because you feel like there's no way out. You make one mistake. What are you going to do? You got better kill yourself. Right? That alt-right guy did whatever you think he did. The idiot tiki torch guy killed himself. So the left-wing mob found this kid who went, you know me, my whole position on all that stuff is clear. I don't like these people. But his life is over, 34, so he killed himself. Congratulations. You doxed the guy, he killed himself. Great, good job. The Huffington Post, oh, we didn't dox Amy Mack. We merely identified an anonymous person and got her husband fired. She's getting death threats, you know? Maybe her and her husband feel like they got no way out. So don't you dare fucking lecture me, you liberals, about your compassion and your sympathy for people. You'll dox and drive people to suicide. And you'll go, well, that's different. They deserve to commit suicide. Amy Mack deserved it. That alt-right guy from Arkansas, he deserved it because he's a bad person, because he's a dumbass who held a tiki. Dumbass. I admit he's a dumbass. But there's no redemption. There's no forgiveness. There's nobody reaching out to these people. Hey, man, you made a big mistake. You know, I don't agree with what you did. I think what you did was really bad, and maybe even it was evil. But, you know, I don't want you to kill yourself. There's no compassion. So then when Bourdain kills himself, people go, well, that's different. We didn't want him to die. You don't get to pick. That's the whole problem. You don't, once you create a culture of doxing people and encouraging suicide and encouraging toxicity, that is the energy you bring into the universe. There's people, when there was a fire at the Trump Hotel, oh, I hope Trump burns down. There's people today saying, I wish it was Trump had killed himself. There's people calling Don Jr.'s daughter autistic, which isn't even an insult, but he means that it was one. That's every fucking day. And then you guys are like, oh, but Anthony Bourdain, here's the fuck your suicide hotline, fuck your virtue signaling, you're fucking frauds, you're fucking liars, you're terrible people. You harass the fuck out of people, you dox people, you make people believe that there's no way out, that there's no hope, there's no redemption. You go on a warpath to destroy people's lives. And then when somebody you like dies, oh, suddenly you're so fucking compassionate. Oh, your heart is just so filled with love. And no, it isn't. You're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody. Maybe yourself for a few retweets. Oh, call the hotline. Great. Hope you get 10,000 retweets. You ever fucking talk to anybody? I gave every vet gets a copy of Gorilla Mindset. Buy what? I've done it. Right? You ever fucking donate money? You ever donate time? No, but you get them retweets. Oh, good. You're so honorable. You're so virtuous. You get them retweets. And then in between getting 10, 20,000 retweets because the suicide hotline, you're out there doxing people, harassing people, causing people to get death threats, mocking people, saying you hope the Trump family dies, calling Ivanka a feckless cunt. You're doing all this. So fuck you. Really? Reality fucking check. Fuck you. If you're spreading toxicity, and maybe I'm being a little contradictory because maybe this is a little too toxic. So, touche. Like I said, I'm not reading comments, but if I were commenting myself, I would say, well, Cernovich, it's rather ironic that you're telling people to not spread toxicity, yet you yourself are being a little harsh. That's fair criticism. And the difference with me is I don't, criticize me all you want. People tell me every day kill myself. But you won't break me. You make me stronger. But you're creating an environment where people like Anthony Bourdain kills himself. So what I think happened personally is Bourdain has been prone to depression. I think that he probably, based on a social media post I saw, I think that he probably did something, maybe stepped out of bounds in a relationship. And he felt like he lost everything because that's the culture. You teach people that you lose everything. You teach people there's no redemption, there's no way out, there's no hope. That's the culture we live in. Now, this is the culture I live in. It's not the culture I create. The culture I create is one of positivity, mindset, improving yourself. And people make fun of me for it. Oh, the gorilla mindset guy. Oh, you mean the guy who saved multiple lives of suicide? How many people have ever emailed you and said I was going to kill myself and then I found your book? I have. How many times? Too many. right? It's just like a normal experience now to hear from people saying, I was suicidal, I was literally going to kill myself, I found your writing, and I didn't. But the same people right now virtue signaling about, we're so loving, call the suicide hotline, right? How many people have ever emailed you and said, I was going to kill myself, I found your writing? Are you putting forth positive energy in the universe? Are you offering hope to people you disagree with? Or are you just, trying to ruin the Amy Mecks of the world? Ruining the people of the world you don't agree with. We got them now. I mean, that Amy Meck article, that was sociopathic. The Huffington Post said that was sociopathic. She can't hide. The article literally said Amy Meck can't hide anymore. But then they go, well, we didn't dox her. Your article said she can't hide. I mean, come on, right? This literally, I don't know if they changed the subtitle, but that was the subtitle. Amy Meck can't hide anymore. Oh, but we didn't dox her. We didn't do anything wrong. We're just, journalists creating, positive. No, you're part of the problem. You're creating vibrations. If you want to know who killed Anthony Bourdain, the media, the Southern Poverty Law Center. How? What are you, a creepy men's rights activist? Oh, men commit suicide. Let's talk about that. What do you mean males commit suicide? Are you a creepy men's rights activist? Let's call you a creepy men's rights activist and add you to our hate list where you can join Candace Owens and Dave Rubin and Sam Harris and Ali. IN. Let's go add you to our hate list, the Southern Poverty Law Center said. So if you talk about suicide, male suicide, you're now a creepy MRA or hate monger, hate person. So you can't actually try to help people do something real, but you can tweet out the suicide hotline and get them retweets. Virtue signal how much you care, how much you really care. Oh, you really would care so much. And then you go right back to just spreading hatred and negativity. So right now, if you're a journalist and you're doxing people and saying you can't hide anymore and we got you good, well, you're contributing to the climate of death and the culture of death. We've said this before. People thought I was lying, and now everybody sees it's come to fruition. I said that we live in a culture of death, where if you commit suicide and school shoot, you're celebrated. Now, you might not be praised. Celebration is a different connotation, but if you want infamy, if you want publicity, don't do anything good. Don't spread love. Don't spread a positive message. If you shoot up a school or kill yourself, media's all over it, man. They'll love it. All the retweets. So there's actually copycat suicide. This happens every time. So this culture of death that we live in, this culture of despair, this post-Christian, post-redemptive society where you are defined by your lowest point, the worst thing you ever said, the worst thing you ever thought. You one time held a tiki torch, bad things, I'm not defending it. But if you're telling people now your life is over, we got you now, you can't hide from us anymore, then you killed Anthony Bourdain. You're part of the people who killed him. If you're glorifying and doxing and harassing people, knowing damn well they're going to get death threats, you're part of that culture of death. You're part of... Because the hive mind we live in, this is what a lot of people can't understand, is the collective consciousness we live in, the vibrations are felt in ways that maybe people can't see on a conscious level. But we live in a world now where if you make a mistake, you despair because you feel like it's over. Oh my God, they tried to kill Kanye. Look what they did to Kanye. I mean, really listen to the words of Ye. Really listen deeply to that. They tried to kill him. They shamed him. They harassed him. They made up lies about his relationship. That's the culture of death that we live in. It is a culture of death. So I encourage a culture of